Hi, and welcome to the Perfect 12 podcast. I'm your host, Simona Fusco, and I'm here with my co-host, Mark Fidelman. And today, we're talking about
Hypergamy.
Hypergamy.
Yes, you should know this word since you practice it.
I should know this word, yes. So why are women hypergamous?
Well, I think it's evolutionary. It's for their own good. So we don't want to knock anyone for being this way, but most women are. And a Tinder survey backs this up. You know, women are going for the best male partner that they can, even if they're in a relationship, which isn't great. But that's what the research shows.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So it says 80% of women are after the same 20% of men. But I think there was also a study that 90% of men are after the same 10% of women.
That's not true. At least not on the dating apps. What it shows is men are more realistic about who's at their level and who's not. But as I said, women are hypergamous by nature, and so that's ultimately what they do. But I think the underlying mechanics, before you come at me in the comments, is that women do a better job of filtering up front, as opposed to men who just want to start a conversation and then they filter later. I think truly that's what the dynamic is, but the headlines are, of course, why are 80% of the women going for 20% of the top guys in a given category, whether it's success or looks or whatever it is? Why do you think that? Yeah, why do you think it is?
Well, I think it always boils down to the same thing it always boils down to, because women are looking for stability and security. And that is really the most important thing. And again, that's in our DNA because we think about protecting our offspring.
But on the apps, it's how could you determine how successful they are from their pictures?
Because they say the business that they're in, a lot of them say private equity, attorney, real estate developer. Oh, let's hone in on that. And if he happens to also be attractive, well, that's a double whammy. Perfect.
Right. So none of those people lie.
Of course they lie, but women lie too. Do you think that those pictures that you see on the dating apps are real? They're all retouched. And do you think that they don't lie about their age? They all lie about their age and their weight and their height.
But men are still more even about who they're choosing on their apps. They're like, the guy thinks, okay, I'm realistically a 5, and I'm going to go for a 6, maybe a 5, maybe a 4.
That's such a lie.
Well, tell me why.
That's what the
so
research
not
shows.
True.
The research what research?
The Tinder research that we're talking about.
The Tinder research is saying that 80% of women are going for the same 20% of men.
Yes, the 9s and 10s, yes.
But the research I read about, which we need to pull up, is that 90% of men also swipe on the same 10% of women.
Oh, but you got to read further down the list. It says, but they're also swiping on women that are more at their level. Yes, they're trying a Hail Mary into the 9s and 10s. I'm not joking.
Because I should show you my Hinge and my Bumble.
That's in another episode.
But let me just tell you something. I was in a relationship with someone. Yes, I was. And he would go on my old dating profile and he would be like, oh my God, how do these guys think they have any chance at you? I mean, the guys that were messaging me and swiping on me, it was just delusional.
But the point is, they will do that, but they'll also swipe at the 4s and 5s, or the women won't. So if you're a 4 or 5 woman, you will not swipe with a guy that's 5'6" and a 5 on their, at least their mental scale.
So you're saying guys are just swiping on everything, as long as she's in good shape,
as long as it's at his level and above.
Well, whatever.
He's more realistic. That's what the data shows. Don't beat me up. You can all look this up.
I'm not. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
Where a woman, even though she's a 5, because a lot of them have been told that big is beautiful, that they'll go swipe only on 8s, 9s, and 10s.
This is so ridiculous. I have to show you some of these dating apps.
We're going to do it.
You're going to
We have an episode
laugh.
for that. You're jumping ahead.
I mean, it's just absurd. And by the way, with my clients too, I don't even have to just talk about dating apps. Let's just talk about over 15 years of experience at owning a matchmaking service. Yeah. Some of these people, both men and women, some of my clients will come to me and have the most outrageous requests when it's like, They're a 5, but they want a 12.
If they're successful, like your clientele is, they've been told how great they are ever since they were successful. So now they're thinking, yeah, I might be a 5, but I have money, which makes me a 10.
Makes me a 10, right.
And you know what? Women respond to that. So
you're talking about regular folk on the dating apps.
Yeah. We're not talking necessarily about your clients. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty normal for women to be hypergamous because, as I said, it's in our DNA.
It's a survival instinct, yeah.
100%.
I'm not blaming women for doing it. I'm just saying this plays out in a very real way, a measurable way on these dating apps, and maybe not so much in real life because they get to know the guy in person, which she might find attractive, even though they don't. He doesn't exude the top 20% wealth and looks that you can easily or more easily find on a dating app because you're just swiping, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's very true. But then also men, they typically don't really care how much money the woman makes, unless he's a sugar baby. But or gigolo. But I think that when it comes to men, they really don't care. As long as she just has, you know, something that she's interested in, you know, that she has a hobby, you know, she gets out of bed in the morning and something is, you know, giving her a reason to jump out of bed in the morning, they're okay with that. But she doesn't have to make...
I think it's more than that. I think women have to bring that feminine energy. They have to bring peace and calm, although some guys like drama.
Right, but I'm talking about financially. I'm talking about because women need to date, you know, hypergamous, right? So they want to date equal or higher, but I'm saying men... they're not really like that.
No, I don't think men are hypergamous. I mean, some are. You know, if they're only in it for the money.
Right.
I mean, there are some out there that'll do it.
Right. Like I said,
I think it's far less. This is because it's not in our DNA. Really, we're supposed to be the providers. So why are we going and seeking one?
You would think so.
Yeah, but maybe that dynamic's shifting like everything else has.
There are those guys out there. It's like, what are you thinking?
My question, just to bring this home a little bit, is to ask you. Would you date somebody that's extremely rich but emotionally poor? Or would you rather date somebody that's very emotionally high, has a high EQ, just as calm and respectful, but he's got a pauper salary?
He's got a what salary?
A paupers.
What's a pauper salary?
It's like some poor person's salary.
Oh, wow. I've never even heard that word.
Charles Dickens.
Definitely rich and, no, just kidding.
No, she's telling the truth, folks. She is.
No. I mean, I think you can teach, maybe you can, you know, go to therapy with him and teach him how to be emotional.
You know how many women watching this have done that and it didn't work? He's going to want to change himself.
Honestly, the other day I was just saying, because I was asked that question.
No, this is hypergamy, right?
But here. I was just talking about this the other day, and someone was asking me, would you rather date an unattractive guy who is, you know, stable, or a good-looking guy who's not stable? And of course, I would rather date somebody that's not attractive, but treats me well, makes me feel safe and secure, and, you know, would treat me even better, because a lot of these good-looking guys out there, you know, they think, oh, well, I can just treat her however I want because I'm the stud and I can just get away with it, or, you know, I'm so good in bed. Well, that only lasts so long, just like a pretty face only lasts that long.
But some of them, that's all they want, is to only last so long.
Oh, no.
Right? No?
Oh, no.
Maybe not your clients.
Once they get addicted to it, then they can't let go.
No, that's what I mean. I'm saying the same thing. That once they get them to that point, they just keep going on, especially here in LA.
Yeah, LA. Yeah, because, you know, everybody's an artist here, starving artist. So that's definitely a thing here.
Well, what happened here is, if men were born here in LA, is that they always had this new, women were coming in left and right to be actresses or models. So they knew, if they're so shallow, and a lot of them were, and I'm not saying all LA guys, that they're so shallow that they knew they could get just another attractive girl that was coming in that didn't know any better. And so they didn't pour as much attention and really tried to build up relationships here, because he knew that there'd be 20 or 30 other new people coming in that could replace the person he's with. That's a real, I think, verifiable fact.
So you're thinking that the guys that were born and raised here are just banking on the fact that there's another boatload of beautiful women coming in?
Well, that's a fact. But I'm not saying all guys. I'm just saying...
That's a really shallow guy.
Have you not heard this? You've lived here. Have you not heard this?
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think the majority of people are transplants.
I'm talking
come
about the
to
ones that
LA.
aren't.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. The ones that aren't have lived here forever, and they always see
I don't really
a
see
bunch
that.
of new.
I think if they're really immature, yes.
What?
But I mean, once you get to a certain age, hopefully you'll
Yeah.
have
What is
that
that
out of your
age?
system.
What is that age? Do you think?
Well, for guys,
Yeah.
it could take a long time. I mean, I
Okay.
have some clients that are in my
Proving my point.
60s that are still, I was like, okay, when are we going to lay that down, the
Right.
Peter Pan complex?
All right. Let's get back to hypergamy. So,
Yes.
what is your thoughts? I mean, do you feel like it does exist, but how strong of a motivating factor is it? Do you think? Like, let me give you another scenario. You're in a relationship. Now, I want you to be extremely honest, or just talk about your friends, maybe. You don't have to name them.
Like you do, yes.
If you're in a great relationship with a person that
Oh,
makes the
boy.
same money as you, and you see guys out there that are better looking than your boyfriend or husband and make more money, what does
Dumping
that trigger?
him. I'm just kidding.
What does that trigger in the typical woman? Look how hard this is for her.
Let me think about this. Well, because I
Look
want to
how hard
answer
it
this
is.
honestly.
Yes, please. Your viewers want to hear the truth.
So you're saying that if a woman were in a relationship with someone that makes just as much money as she
Yes.
does,
Yes.
and then she sees around her all these other guys that are
Not all, but maybe 2 or 3 that are better looking and make a lot more money.
a lot more money,
What does that trigger inside of her?
she'd probably be triggered by saying, I mean, it depends how much in love she is with him, right? I think if she's deeply in love with him, she wouldn't even see those other people. But if she feels financially threatened and unstable,
No, that's not the point. The point is, no, she's stable.
you're saying she's
And-
stable.
Yeah, she's stable. The guy's providing, but there's another levels or 2 levels above.
Okay, well, if she's looking around and she feels stable and
Mm-hmm.
she's looking around and clearly she's not really in love with him.
But isn't that, well, no, that's not true. I mean, you could be in love with somebody. There's all sorts
I'm
of.
not in so personally, no.
No, I'm not talking
but-
personally, but maybe your observations being in this field about people.
It's just you can't have it this black and white. I mean,
It's
there are
not
people
black and
that
white.
are
It's very
more
gray.
financially motivated, and there are people that they're just happy with. For example, I have this one client right now, and she's in her 40s, and she wants
Mm-hmm.
to have a baby, and she was dating some extremely successful guys.
Mm-hmm.
But they may or may not want to have a baby. And she says, I'd rather be with a guy that's not
Mm-hmm.
as financially stable, but he really is ready to have a family.
Right, but that wasn't the question, with all due respect. The question is, most women in that situation, are they going to yearn for this other guy that she now knows
You
maybe
just
from
want
work?
me to answer something you want to hear. That's what we're doing here.
I'm asking you, I know what the answer is, but I'm asking you what your opinion is.
I don't agree with you. I do not agree with you. I think that if the woman is in love
Yeah.
and if she feels stable and secure, then no. But if there are struggles in the relationship,
Yeah.
then yes, absolutely.
So would that mean if there are struggles in the relationship, she would date somebody poorer and in a less stable situation?
Well, I think that we all have experience with dating someone poor, and it typically doesn't work out really well, especially if you want to have a family.
Yeah.
So I think it's the more safer choice is somebody that's more financially stable.
Right, so it comes down to the same. So you think, and I think your viewers would be happy to hear this, that if she's in a loving
They're
relationship,
our viewers.
our viewers, yes, are in a stable relationship, a loving relationship, that even though she sees a hotter, way more successful guy, that she's not yearning for that person.
No, I don't think so. I think if she's truly in love, you've asked me the same question, by the way, now 5 times.
Yes,
just
but
a
I'm
little
trying to
bit
get a straight
differently.
answer.
But and I'm always going to stick by, if any person is truly in love with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and if they feel safe and secure, they will stick by that person. It's just when they encounter struggles. If the guy becomes insecure because he's struggling and he makes poor choices, or if, maybe he has a wandering eye and now she starts feeling insecure, then of course she's going to start thinking, okay, maybe this person can give me more safety and stability. But if everything is straight and narrow in the relationship and she feels that, he's providing to the best of his ability, I don't think so.
And,
No.
and you see that with your clients and friends too. They act the same way.
I didn't say that. With some of my clients, I don't see that. I do see that they will trade in for the bigger, better deal.
Yeah.
But it goes for both men and women.
Well, I mean, we know
Because
on
her
the male
pa- her-
side, we're not talking on the male side
Right.
yet, but we know on the male side they will go younger.
Right. They will
For
trade
beauty.
in for
They will.
the newer model, right?
Yeah. Now, these guys aren't the guys you want to get in bed with, literally and figuratively. And it's the same thing as hypergamy, but I don't know. They think they call it something else. These are not good people. Sorry. But they're not sticking it out because he finds a better, more attractive younger woman. That's not a high quality person.
No.
And same with women. If they're trading up, there's a famous scene in Eyes Wide Shut where I forgot her name, the famous actress.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. Well, she tells him while they're dating. You remember this? She saw a guy walk past her, and she said she would have given all up for that guy, and it
I
caused
did
such
see
a
that.
rift. Oh, it was devastating. And well, not
That was a great
technically,
scene.
not technically hypergamy. It is narrows, or it's close to that. And I think a lot of guys think, maybe untrue, based on what you're telling us, that that's the way some women do think.
Okay, but let me tell you something. I think in the movie, Nicole Kidman felt unsafe.
Not at the time that she ran into this other individual that she was talking about. The whole conversation was around, you have no idea, Tom, was it his name, how women think. I'll give you an example that's relevant to our relationship.
You have to be careful what you wish for. You shouldn't, don't expose. When you play with fire, you can get burned.
But that's the whole point is people are
Right.
wanting to know if this hypergamous nature in women extends beyond a successful
No,
loving
I'm saying,
relationship.
I think you're talking about when you're already in a relationship, but I'm talking about if a woman is single, absolutely.
That's
Women are
different.
hypergamous.
Yes.
They date equal
But
or
once they're
better.
in a relationship, you feel like that goes away just
To
magically.
me, yes, to me personally, it does, and to my friends as well, and certainly to my clients. Once they're in a relationship, they're committed.
I want to know from people watching this what you think and what your experience is, especially if you're a woman in a relationship or single. I think we all would agree that being single, you try to get the best option you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But
course.
once you're in a relationship, be honest, ladies, is this something that you've seen or you personally have done that you're looking to trade up once you're in a stable, loving relationship? I'd love to know that.
And whether you're hypergamous or not, if you're looking to meet quality matches that are vetted by my team, you can apply to perfect12.com.
Don't forget to subscribe and like, okay? And the comments, please. I want to hear from you.